London, and I am here for the 50th anniversary of Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park. And with me is Craig Baggs, who is Bill Baggs' son, oldest son, and Howard Kleinberg, who is the managing editor with the Miami News when Bill, but he was also the last editor of the Miami News when it ceased publication in 1988. So we're all here to celebrate Bill and celebrate the park.
My father was an amazing man. He was a journalist, a diplomat, a presidential advisor. He was a strong conservationist, and one of his very strong commitments was to protect and preserve Miami's oldest structure, which is the lighthouse. And he saw the development going on in Key Biscayne, and he always believed that people needed parks and a place to relax and rest and hear the soft drawl of the sea. So today we're here to honor his 50th anniversary, and we're very pleased to do so. Very unpredictable.
That's why he's so fun to write about. And you knew him, you worked beside him every day.
Yeah, I worked with Bill for quite a number of years. He moved me up when I wasn't deserving it. And by the way, I was at the dedication of this park 50 years ago. And there's a wonderful story attached to it. Several of us from the Miami News were standing there for the dedication, and all of a sudden a bunch of pickets showed up with signs and things like that, having nothing to do with Bill. And the picket sign said, "Free Pitts and Lee," who were two people who were in prison for a murder they did not commit. And one of the Miami News guys who was with me was the great columnist John Kiesler, and he was bothered that this thing was trying to interrupt Bill's dedication for Bill. And so he walked up to him and says, "I haven't got time to free Pitts and Lee. I'm too busy boycotting grapes."
Which is totally fitting with Bill.
The big thing is you've got to get this book that's being written. Yes, it's amazing. It is amazing. There are so many fabulous stories. There's so much history of Miami in it, so it's a big deal.
My name is Natalie Kleinberg. I belong to Howard Kleinberg. We've been married almost 66 years, and 50 years ago we were in this very same spot watching this beautiful park and the lighthouse being initiated. But I want to tell you a story about Bill. Bill Baggs hired my husband when he was in Miami High. Okay? And he was working for the Miami News when he was 17 years old. I met him when I was 14 and a half. At any rate, we got married and we had 4 beautiful babies in 5 years and 11 months. And we had a house full of kids, and we lived in a little VA ticky-tack house. And Bill Baggs said to Howard, "Listen, you," he called him Brat. He said, "Listen, Brat, my managing editor isn't going to live in a little ticky-tack house. I want you to live in a nice house." So he took Howard out, and they went and they found me a house, okay? Now this house was 4 times more than the little ticky-tack house that we were living in. I said, Howard said, "Bill, how are we going to afford this? It's a big house." And Bill says, "Brat, you listen to me. As long as I'm alive, you'll never have to worry about a thing." And he died 6 months later. But we got the house, and it was a good thing. So.
And what kind of a man was? Did he have a sense of humor?
Oh yes, he was a wonderful man. He had a delightful sense of humor, and he was funny, and he was gorgeous, very good-looking man, and he went all over the world, and he did exciting things, and fortunately for Howard, he let Howard help him in all these different venues that he sent him to. He'd call him up and say, "Get on a plane and go to Washington, D.C. tonight. I got to give you a paper to bring back." All these, he was very influential in Howard's life and mine as well. And he had a wonderful wife, Baggs, and beautiful children. And he was a good man. Unfortunately, he died very young.
He was very young.
Very unfulfilled. He had many good years left in him. He was in our life about 10, 15 years. He really made an impact on my life, and the children knew him, and to this day, my son and Mahoney are good friends. So it maintained another generation of friends.
I'm Prudence Gill, and I did not know Bill Baggs, but when I was in 4th grade in Key Biscayne Elementary School and living here on the island on the coconut plantation, I wrote a letter to Bill Baggs because I was upset about the new high-rise, the first high-rise on Key Biscayne, which was called, and still is, called Island House. And I wrote a letter of protest because I was upset that my raccoon's home was being devastated. And he took the letter and ended up a feature article about me and my raccoon and living on the plantation was published in the paper. And it really was the beginning and sort of helped spur me to continue as an activist and an environmentalist. So I have a great deal to be thankful for.
Well, I met Bill Baggs way back in the 50s, before the raccoon story, which was at the end of the 50s. And I knew him because I was an aspiring young writer, and he was a rather fascinating, wonderful person who had the Miami News, the best and liberal newspaper down here. And I admired him for a long time, and I got to know the people and the staff of the newspaper. And when I really got a little bit to know him was when I would go down in the evenings and visit Don Wright, the political cartoonist, who another Pulitzer Prize winner, and Kiesler, who lived on Key Biscayne, John Kiesler, who was the humor writer, and they all wrote at night and did their cartoons at night, and Bill would come in at night, and I did discover that he had a great sense of humor and perspective at that time. It was very exciting when the time came for the Cape Florida Lighthouse to have a chance to be a parkland and not to go back to public ownership. To come back to public ownership. And he did an incredible job, and we all worked in order to do that. He was a wonderful, wonderful person with great perspective and great persuasion, and he really did save this, shall we say, the Cape Florida Lighthouse Station and the whole grounds here. He understood the environment, he understood history. He knew that he was not the first person to come out to this, what we call the pristine beach, because there were footprints in there of the Tequesta Indians dating back thousands of years. But he also left a great imprint and footprints of his own as he decided to save it for the people and not to have it developed. Development was in the air, and you'll hear a lot about this tonight, all the facts and history.
My name's John Nordt. I was born and raised in Miami, 4 generations. Bill Baggs I knew as a young man. I grew up in Coconut Grove. And I think to answer the question about the park and the inception, you have to go back to the 50th anniversary of Biscayne National Park, which is also last October. D.K. Ludwig started to build an oil refinery where Turkey Point is now, and that alerted Dante Vassell, Hardy Matheson, and many others, including Bill Baggs, to preserve Biscayne Bay, and thank God it still is. This southern tip of Key Biscayne is amazing because this is the first underground railroad where slaves left to go to northern coast of Andros Island before the lighthouse was built in 1821, 1822, and has continued to be part of private ownership with the Davis family and Israel Lafayette Jones, Ralph Monroe, is part of the history of Biscayne Bay and Coconut Grove, and thank God it's preserved to this day. So I think this is a great event. Mahoney Baggs is a very dear friend of mine. Craig I've known, but Mahoney was a kid, and I'm a physician. We've had some relationships as far as medical is concerned. and I'm just glad to be here tonight. Thank you. He was a higher stature and a lot older. I think I was 20 or 21 when I knew him, and I'm sure my focus was not there. His wife, Freck Baggs, was a very good friend of my parents, and I was away in school most of the time. So I met him to say hi. I was very respectful, but I did not know him that well.
You knew he was a very special man, though.
Very well, absolutely. More so now than ever.
We are so delighted to be here to celebrate the anniversary of Bill Baggs State Park. We're just blessed to have such a treasure in our backyard, and we hope to be good stewards of our wonderful park. Can't believe it's been 50 years, how the time flies, but it is. It's a gem. And I'm so happy to see such a wonderful turnout. I know you all know it's sold out, and that's really special. So it's a wonderful event, and as Myra says, we're really happy to be here. Thank you.
We live in London, and we've come here every year at December to February, and this is a wonderful occasion. And friends of ours have gotten the tickets, so we love it, and we look forward to it.
Hi, it's Jill and Bill Stevens. We just arrived and so delighted to be here at the 50th anniversary of the Bill Baggs Cape Florida Park.
I'm looking forward to getting a drink and get some great food from like all the restaurants that cater to this place. This is a bomb. 50th year. We'll see you on the other side.
Happy 50th anniversary at the Bill Baggs Full Moon Celebration. I hope you guys will spend some time here enjoying the festivities as well as climbing our historic lighthouse. Historic lighthouse because when it comes to the Cape Florida Light, this is the oldest structure in all of South Florida. We're proud to open up to you guys in the evening. It is going to be 109 steps to get climbing, so maybe climb earlier before we get well into our drinks. But I hope you guys enjoy the view up there. We love answering questions. We love to have you guys here. Have a great night here in Cape Florida. See you later tonight, guys.
It was very nice. It was beautiful at night. That was a real treat. I've never been to the lighthouse at night before.
How many steps?
You know what? I didn't count them. I'm not sure. Hundreds. It seemed like hundreds.
It was great. It was well worth the view. The effort more than paid off. It's magnificent up there tonight.
And how was the view?
Fabulous. From Miami Beach all the way down to the Keys. It was, and the party looks beautiful from up there too. It's decorated so nicely, and from up top, it just looks wonderful.
The lighthouse is extraordinary.
And it's always beautiful walking here.
But tonight especially, because of the full moon and the stars and the lights from the lighthouse.
And the ocean.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a very special event. We are celebrating the 50th anniversary of our state park being named for Bill Baggs. So 50 years ago, they changed the name from just Cape Florida to Bill Baggs Cape Florida State Park. And we're celebrating that tonight with a wonderful full moon fundraiser with lots of wonderful guests and all of Bill's extended family from all over the state of Florida. All the different things that are happening tonight, everything from 9 wonderful restaurants serving small bites to a wonderful band called the Spam All-Stars that'll start at 9. And before that, we will hear from Amy Condon, who will tell us all about Bill Baggs and his wonderful contributions to the city of Miami and especially to the island of Key Biscayne. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy.
Hey everybody, I just want to say happy anniversary to Bill Baggs State Park. We love every minute we get to enjoy this place, and really an incredible event tonight. So I want to thank everybody for coming out, and let's enjoy ourselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Theodora Long, and I'm president of Friends of Cape Florida. Thank you all for coming this evening to help us celebrate 50 years since Bill Baggs' name was added to Cape Florida. The Friends of Cape Florida is a not-for-profit community service organization which helps support this wonderful park. It's with your generous donations this evening that we have raised over $100,000 for the park. Woo! I could not have done it without the unflappable Bill Baggs Dream Team. Where are you, ladies? I need you all up front here. 14 ladies got together to bring this evening to you. Come up here, ladies, and take a bow. And let us also give you a little thank you gift that we have for you. Our chairperson, Nancy Levitt Davis. Yay, Nancy! She certainly pulled it all off for us in an unbelievable way and put together the beautiful dream team. So thank you. We have these lovely little awards for you. And Nancy, here's a beautiful orchid special for you from all of us. Let me just tell you who the dream team was besides Nancy. We had Gigi Costa, Christina Del Valle, Alexandra Kimball, Julie Levitt, Maria Paralockin, Jamie McCon, Leslie Mawani, Terry Oliva, Vanessa Sanz Bacido, Sandra Siva, Stacia Smith Bahamondes, and Mighty Thornton. Those are the 14 ladies, and myself, of course, that helped put everything together. I would like to take a moment to bring to your attention those who were the most generous with their donations. Of course, it begins with our signature sponsor, the Lightkeepers of the Key Biscayne Ritz-Carlton. We couldn't have done it without you. I hope that everyone goes there and supports their lovely bar and restaurant. So they were our signature sponsor, Lightkeepers at the Key Biscayne Ritz-Carlton. We would also like to thank Bacardi for taking care of all our bars this evening. Big thanks to Bacardi. A big thank you to all the restaurants who graciously donated all the food for this evening. We had Salt, Suvice, La Despensa, Golden Hog, Boulder's Grill, Puntino, and Novecento. We also had support from the Key Biscayne Community Foundation, the Village of Key Biscayne, the Key Biscayne Police Department, Northern Trust Bank, Tompkins Constructions, Key Biscayne Life Enhancement Forum, Thornton Construction, the Riley Smith Group, McCon and Mandiola, D. Road Orthodontics, Rush and Roa, the Dade Heritage Trust, and of course the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Biscayne Nature Center. Wait, it's not over. We raised $100,000. We had Stefano's Wine and Liquor, Bovar Rosé, Tank Brewing, Winn Dixie, Haircut Fitness, KB Green, Don Ploss, the Silva family, and Herb and Jody Wayner. A big round of applause for all our sponsors. All of these folks helped us host this wonderful party for you this evening in Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park. We have the renowned writer Amy Page Condon here tonight. Amy will highlight why Bill Baggs was such a remarkable gentleman and why he deserved to have his name on this glorious park. We are all here celebrating Bill Baggs. Who is Bill Baggs? Not many of us knew his story before we watched Amy's TED Talk, There Are No Simple Answers. We are so delighted to have Amy Page Condon here tonight. Amy is the founder of the writing studio called The Refinery in Savannah, Georgia, which helps other writers tell their stories. She also teaches creative writing at Armstrong State University. She is writing the biography of Bill Baggs, which is under contract with the University of Georgia Press, and we will see it in print very soon. Please give a big Key Biscayne welcome to Amy Page Condon.
Thank you, Theo, so much. Thank you, Friends of Cape Florida. I want to thank Craig and Mary, Mahoney and Valerie, Howard Kleinberg and Natalie Kleinberg, Art Levy, and definitely Bill and Freck for leading us here. I have a belief that they had something to do with how beautiful and glorious this night is. Bill Baggs, of course, was a journalist, but he was so much more. He was a visionary, a conservationist, a humanist, a husband and a father with an extraordinarily generous heart. He was all of those things, but at his core, he was a man who believed that all people deserved equal rights and opportunities regardless of how they started their life. So it seems fitting, too, that this celebration falls on the same weekend we honor Dr. Martin Luther King, who he considered a friend. You see, Bill had a vision of a world where everyone had access to clean water, to clean air, green and open spaces, because he understood long before we had phrases like nature deficit disorder, that being outdoors could soothe a broken heart, that water is magical, and that people of all walks of life, this wind is not fun, that people from all walks of life, regardless of wealth, age, race, culture, or ability, are in need and appreciative of beauty and deserve access to it. He learned the healing power of nature early on, because first as a child, when he found comfort in wandering the woods near his home in Colquitt, Georgia, that was where he was sent to live when he was 12 years old after his mother died and he was an orphan. Then later on, as a bombardier in World War II, when, with his head in the clouds, he could glimpse a sense of heaven, and thereafter dedicate his life toward building peace in our world. Bill was also a futurist. He always saw a few steps ahead of everyone else and implored us to think always of what kind of Miami, what kind of world we were going to leave our children. This ethos guided everything he attempted and all that he accomplished in his very brief time on what he always called this old green planet. The first time I ever heard the name Bill Baggs was my first week on the job in Miami in 1993. I was a manager's trainee, a county manager's trainee, and we were touring all the parks. And it was 9.5 months after Hurricane Andrew buzzed through here. And it was so spare, but the only thing still standing really was the lighthouse. And it was a beacon of hope. In fact, one of the women who was with us was on the verge of tears because this was her special place. And that lighthouse served as a beacon for how to move forward. And I was standing there, I said, so who's Bill Baggs? And someone goes, oh, I think he was an editor or something, but no one really knew the story. So for about 10 years, I worked in Parks, Recreation, and Conservation after that. And as I was working in it, I was asked to do a Biscayne Bay Access Plan. And that plan was about creating access, and I found Bill's words as I was doing research for that plan. And one of the things I found so lovely was that he was such a warrior for this bay and for this land. Because I was looking at other plans around the country, and I came across the Central Park plan during its big reorganization in the 1980s. And they did a map when they were doing that plan that showed had they built every possible thing that they were going to build in there, there would be nothing left but a small portion of sheep meadow. So that means there was no reservoir, no trail around it, no ramble, no Shakespeare in the park. And I found that Bill stood in the way with his mighty typewriter and mighty voice in the way of things like Sea Day, Islandia, the Everglades to Bay Canal, condos and hotels right where we stand. For him, saving this lighthouse was one of the most important things because it was the oldest structure and it was worth saving our history. If any of those plans had succeeded, our bay would actually be about the size of a cove. We would have waters choked and cloudy like the Gulf of Mexico off of Galveston. There would be nothing to tell us of the enslaved Africans who made their way along the saltwater railroad to the Bahamas and to freedom. And there would be no place like this where we could drop a line, turn our faces toward the sun, and hear the soft drawl of the sea. He used his position first as a columnist, then as an editor of the Miami News to advocate for the people of Miami-Dade County, as well as for its mangrove hammocks, its tidal creeks, its rich and varied stories of people who came here from all over the world. In so doing, he wrote a letter to Mrs. Elena Garcia and published it in the News, and convinced her to sell this park, this glorious cape, for less than half of its market value. In an open letter to her, he said, the public, especially the children, should have that land and that long sloping beaches, the old lighthouse, which is one of the few remnants of our history, the trails which wander beneath the old palms. This is a business proposition, he wrote, opening both her heart and her pocketbook. But if you sell to the people, children, all the children, long after we are gone from this world, we'll have the freedom of that beach and the sights of the unspoiled tropics. That idea maybe puts a little more humanity into a business deal. Mrs. Garcia answered his call the following week. It didn't take her that long, and she asked Bill to publish her letter in the News, saying she agreed that she wanted her little slice of paradise here at the tip of Key Biscayne to belong to the people. But Bill did not stop there. He went to work. He traveled to Washington that June in 1965 to gain the promise of the Secretary of the Interior, Stuart Udall. I mean, the man knew everybody. That if Florida and Dade County would do their parts, the federal government would make up the difference. Then Bill used the leverage of the nation's promise to get state and local leaders to join in, and they were able to purchase the property. And the thing that he did is he was really big about giving them the credit in print when he's the one who brought them all together. And Bill was often fond of saying, the people of this community could accomplish anything if they would just stop worrying about who got the credit. The thing is, he might actually be a little embarrassed by this show of affection here half a century later. But Bill Baggs absolutely deserves the credit for this park. The ancients believed that the true meaning of life is when a man plants a tree, knowing he will never sit beneath its shade. Bill Baggs not only understood the true meaning of life, he helped save this place so that we could find meaning in our own. All throughout my time living here in Miami, this park was my refuge. And anytime I had people in town, I brought them here, not to the glamour of South Beach, but to the quiet, contemplative shores and the shadow of this beacon. Bill's words guided me as I wrote that plan, and they are guiding me every day as I write his story. And it has brought to me an expansion of my family with the Baggs family. 50 years later, he reminds us that we have a duty to not only cherish such places, but also to protect them so that they endure 50 more years. From now, from long past we're here, from the time that we revel beneath the shade of these trees. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. Wasn't that wonderful? I mean, we are so lucky to have this park right in our own backyards. We're also very lucky tonight to have two of Bill Baggs' sons here with their wives, their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren. Let me bring to the stage Craig Baggs. He would like to say a few words to everyone who's here this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What a beautiful night, huh? Could it be any more beautiful? On behalf of my brother Mahoney and myself and my family, we'd like to thank you for supporting the 50th anniversary of the Bill Baggs Cape Florida State Park. I'd like to recognize a couple of people: Theodore Long, Art Urian, my good friend Art Levy, park officials, and again, of course, Amy Condon, who's taught me quite a bit about my father I never knew. It was a kismet that my mom, Freck Baggs, took a writing course in the 80s to write her memoir of her life with Bill Baggs. This is where she met Amy, who is currently writing the book she talked about. By the way, I read a couple of chapters. It's a book you cannot put down. But I'd also like to give homage to a very special person here. His name is Howard Kleinberg. Mr. Kleinberg was the former editor of the Miami News and also the managing editor under my father. Many of the things that my father was able to accomplish was because Howard Kleinberg was behind him, taking care of things. So thank you very much, Howard, for helping. My father taught Mahoney and I in life that we're here to make a contribution. Whether small or large, we're here to make a contribution, to make the world a little better place, and to do what's right, even if it's unpopular. During his brief stay on this planet, he did many great things. He was a diplomat, award-winning journalist, civil rights leader, presidential advisor. Most of all, he was the voice of the common man. One of my father's commitments and strong commitments was the preservation of Miami's oldest structure, the lighthouse. The tip of Key Biscayne and the development, he saw it coming and he knew they wanted a place to relax and hear the soft draw of the sea. So look around, imagine something quite different. Condos, highways, maybe even an oil rig offshore. No beacon with a view, no sand between your toes. As editor, in his daily column, which appeared on the front of the Miami News, he would strike strong opinions by many. Many people would disagree with his views, but instead of arguing with them, he would send them a little note. And in that note, he would position what his viewpoint was, and then he had a stamp. And the stamp simply said, "This is not a simple world, my friend, and there are no simple answers." Well, we brought some cards with us. I've got some here, but we're going to pass them out for anybody who'd like them. And that saying is on the card. So the next time you run into someone who has a difference of opinion, don't argue with them, just simply give them this card. I think if he was here today, and I think he is in spirit, he would thank each one of you for your generous donations and contributions, making this a beautiful piece of paradise and a better place for all of us to join. He was my hero. He's the park's hero. He was a hero for many. And now, if you would please, raise your glass or your hand, and let's put a toast to Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park, and the Bill Baggs legacy here. Thank you very much.
This has just been a lovely evening, and we would not be celebrating here under the stars if it wasn't for our great park director, Art Urian. Art, please come up and say a few words. We cannot thank you enough for all you do to make this park just fantastic.
Okay, I'll keep this short. I don't have any fancy thing. I'm going to talk to you from my heart. I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and showing their support for the park. One thing that resonates with me is when they talked about this being their special place. I've only been here going on 4 years now, and oh my God, I feel so blessed. This is my special place. And one thing that I want to commit to is I want to make it your special place. This is your park. This is all about you. And one man or one person can make a difference. And Bill showed you that. I want to continue this. We love the support we're getting from the community, and I appreciate it. We love you. You guys enjoy.
Thank you, Art. And now, let the Bill Baggs Full Moon Party continue as we listen to the great sounds of Spam All-Stars.
Happy anniversary!
So Matt, what are you thinking about this evening's event?
Just really pleased to be here. Beautiful setting, beautiful people. Ride my bike through it or walk. Have a meal at the Boaters Grill. That's part of our routine.
What Bill Baggs did to get us this park, it's incredible. And what Art Urian's done with this park has been phenomenal. So we appreciate everything that's been going on here for 50 years, but it just seems to get better with every day. So thanks to Art and Lou.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Flores, the events coordinator from the Tank Brewing Company located here in Doral. We're happy to be invited to the 50th anniversary of the Bill Baggs Florida State Park. I'm glad to be here invited. Every year is very welcoming. And we're here to present a good amber beer and a wheat saison beer for everybody for here to enjoy. Very wonderful host, very wonderful night. I enjoyed the people, and the Tank and everybody else is very appreciative that we're here invited today, and hopefully for many more years to come.
We are here at the Friends of Cape Florida event here on Key Biscayne. This is a positively unique Key Biscayne event. This is the type of thing that you can only find in the island paradise that is Key Biscayne. I'm here with Maritza Miner and Lori Rombero. I'm Randall Rombero, and all three of us are just counting our blessings for the fact that we are here tonight at such an amazing, wonderful event supporting an amazing cause.
Yes, I agree with that.
We're here with La Despensa, Spanish restaurant at the Square Mall, doing live Spanish paella. All you need from Spain is right there with us. Thanks.
Japanese fusion. So this evening I'm serving a ceviche verde. It's leche de tigre infused with jalapeno habanero that we make in-house and cucumber. Very good. We have 4 locations, soon 5. We'll be opening up in Doral in a month. And we have Brickell, Wynwood, South Beach, and Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale.
We are Secreto Gourmet. We are next to Winn Dixie. We have beef lasagna, different preparations, breakfast and lunch also. Vegan options and daily specials also from Tuesday to Friday. So come and visit us. Happy anniversary to Lighthouse, and thank you for your invitation.
We're doing Swiss and French raclette. This cheese is a cow cheese milk. It's tucked in between France and Switzerland. They are grass-fed. They eat wild berries during spring, summer, all the way through fall.
We're ready.
Ooh, wow! So it gives a really super texture to the cheese, and it's really
See what you get for weight?
Wow.
Oh man, that was a hit. That was a hit.
Really good. Cheese from the French and Swiss Alps. It's called a raclette du Livarou. It is a milk cow, and this is tucked in the Alps.
Near Switzerland and France.
So heating melts the cheese, and we literally dump the mass on the potatoes with gherkins and some bresaola.
Double dump.
Warm it up just this. The meat, yes, this is bresaola. It's cured beef tenderloin. It comes from Italy.
Oh,
so here we are.
Nice. There's one more left there, huh?
This is Reina Gonzalez here from Boaters Grill. We're having this evening a beautiful weather and this amazing event. And we're serving today pork belly and tostones. Tostones are green fried plantains, and the pork belly are very crispy, crackling pork skins. Pork cracklings and tostones, it's our serving for the night.
And
Our
does
taste.
that have a special name to it?
We call it barrigada de cerdo.
And is it from?
It's a traditional Cuban dish. Yes.
Well, it was delicious. I just had one. It was
Well,
very, very good.
thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
50th
anniversary of the park being named after my dad.
Can you believe that?
I knew that would open your eyes.
I knew that. Look at it. Her eyes are even open.
What memories you have of your dad?
He was my dad.
That's
I
a good
mean,
answer.
I don't know what else to say. He was a good man. That's what I've heard. I tried on his military suit from the attic when I was 17, and it fit me like a glove.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it was
cool.
like it was tailor-made. It was
He don't-
pretty, but you have to remember when he died, I was like 11, so I'm not sure about his future plans, but I do know that he pushed to have the land saved and not be sold to a developer. But we did used to come over here when we had a boat. That was very nice, and we did come to Hurricane Harbor. Spent many happy hours with my daughter, who is wandering around here now.
And she must be proud for her grandfather that everybody's celebrating what he did.
I think anybody would be. This is absolutely spectacular, but again,
Yeah.
this is you all. You
Yeah.
guys did a tremendous
Yeah,
job.
it turned out nicely. Thank you.
I'm just here enjoying the benefits of y'all's labor.
So much, but your dad was the best, right?
Thank you very much.
50th anniversary, Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park. It was a great party. Thank you so much to the Bill Baggs family. This park is one of the outstanding parks in the park system in the state of Florida. And what a gem this is. The Bill Baggs, Cape Florida State Park. The lighthouse is on.
It was so special to see all of the Baggs family members here at this event, just kind of celebrating. It was wonderful under the full moon. We got to climb up the lighthouse, so just a really great party kind of honoring Bill Baggs and his anniversary.
Thank you for everyone's support for supporting Bill Baggs State Park, keeping this for generations to come.
Happy anniversary!